Welcome back to Port Dickson on a very bright day. It is so bright with that sun up there right now, and here in this sort of area with white tiles and white cement, I can barely keep my eyes open. It is incredible. As I always talk about when I'm riding my bike or on the scooter, that sun is 93 million miles away. How in the world can it be burning this hot? After that much distance, it's just phenomenal. I can never quite get over that simple fact. But anyway, I'm heading out into Port Dickson, and not surprisingly, I'm doing some work on my bike, and I thought I'd give a little bit of an update on some things that have been going on with the bike. The thing I'm doing today, in fact, is to drill some holes. I'm hoping to drill some holes, and I'm hoping that these holes will help me attach a 360 camera from time to time. I've got my GoPro mounting apparatus kind of sorted out, I think. I've tried a whole bunch of different variations, and this is what I've finally settled on, what you see here. And it's having this short broomstick. It can be shorter, but I haven't cut it yet. I just want to use it for a while so I can get a better feel for exactly how long it needs to be. It's a bit longer than it needs right now. But that's how I'm mounting the GoPros, and I'll have the GoPro Hero 12 mounted here, and it would generally be pointed backwards at me as I'm riding the bicycle. And this one will be recording audio because it will have the Rode Wireless Go microphone attached to it. So this would be my main GoPro, and I would have it here recording me. And then I can also just turn it around on this quick release mounting. I can face it forward as well. So I can have it facing forward or backward. And then I have another mounting apparatus here. And the idea is here, I've got the GoPro Hero 9 mounted here. I could also put the 12 here, it doesn't matter. But I would generally have the 12 pointed backwards and then the 9 down here pointing forwards. And then I'd have both cameras running at the same time. And then I sync up the video, and then I can switch back and forth from this perspective and this perspective and go back and forth. And of course, because I have the quick release system, I can also have a chest harness or a neck mount, and then I can take one of these GoPros and then just unclip it from the bike and then clip it onto my chest harness. So I arrive at some roadside coffee shop and I want to go in to get a drink or something. I hop off the bike, I can grab the GoPro and mount it on my hand grip as normal, or I can just click it into my chest harness and then go about my business. So that's pretty much what's going on with the GoPros. And I still have other mounting apparatus I don't have on right now, like on the handlebars. I can put a GoPro mount here, I could put one here, you know, there's this handlebar, to be honest, is a little bit of a problem for me because there is very little room. The handlebars are relatively short, and then with all of my doodads attached, I only have this tiny piece to work with. It isn't enough space to mount all the gadgets. Like if I wanted to put on a light and a GoPro and a speedometer, and there just is not enough room on these handlebars. But anyway, so that's the GoPro setup. And as you can see, here are the water bottles. Let me go around. No, this is okay on this side. Have the sun pointing this way. I have 3 mounting points for 1.5 liter bottles. So one can go here, one can go here, and then I have a third option. This is a special mount I bought from a company in the UK. A guy made it at his house. It was like DIY designed for himself, and then he started marketing it and selling it. And the idea is these metal loops can get bigger and smaller to accommodate anything. So his idea mainly, I think, was to use it for fuel bottles. So if you have a camp stove or something with gasoline or diesel or whatever fuel you're using, you can actually mount your fuel bottle here, or you could put a thermos down there with cold or hot drinks. I have a Nalgene bottle. I have it sized for a Nalgene bottle right now. So that carries 1.5 liters, 1.5. So it's basically 4.5 liters of water I can carry on the bike. So I've got all that figured out. And then what I want to do today is get some holes drilled. You see these yellow marks I've put on here? I want to get a hole drilled in here, and I'll demonstrate it later. Once I have the holes drilled, it'll make more sense but I'm going to mount a movable mounting apparatus. Can go just 2 holes here already, 2 here at the back. I have to get those widened. They're too small. So I have to get these holes widened and then drill 3 new holes. And then I can mount like a base here and then a grip. And anyway, that will make more sense once the whole thing is completed. And there's a bicycle shop near my house here in Port Dickson. I popped in there yesterday just to ask the guys, like, do you have a metal drill? Like, can you drill through aluminum? And he says, yeah, I can do that. So I'm gonna go in and I can show him how big I need the holes to be, and hopefully he has the right drill bit. And I mean, if he can do it right now and he's willing to do it, then he can just go zzz, zzz, zzz. He could do it in 3 minutes. He could drill all these holes, but who knows whether he's there today. I don't know whether he's open, whether he's free, whether he wants to mess around with a tiny job like this. I'll find out. So that's what's going on. I'm gonna hop on the bike and ride to this bike shop. All right, I'm all set to go. I have both GoPros running. The Hero 9 is pointing at me right now, so that's the view you get from the Hero 9 at the moment. And of course, it can be aimed up, down, left, right. I can even turn it around, face it backwards if I want. I might do that today just for fun. And this is the view at the moment from the Hero 12 at the front of the bike. And wow. I can hardly even keep my eyes open. It is so hot. Yeah, got to get out the gate here. There's that old expression that it's hot enough to fry an egg on the street or fry an egg on anything. Right now, this is one of those days you could fry an egg on the pavement, you could fry an egg up here, you could fry an egg right on my forearms, on my forehead right now. And that guy, that was a turbo sneeze, scared me half to death. All right, so how is the GoPro lined up? I have it set to wide right now. Both cameras are on wide without any linear locking or linear horizon lock or anything like that. So, and I've been fiddling around with all kinds of other things. I mentioned before that I have a lot of trouble when I'm biking with seats because my butt gets really sore, and I've tried out various saddles. They call them saddles on bikes. They don't really call them seats. So I've tried various styles of saddles, and I eventually settled on a kind that's designed for long distance touring, and it has a cutout down the middle. So it's actually more like a circle that supports your butt, but then it has an opening right down the middle, which is supposed to help out with sore spots. But then I still got really, really sore. So then I put a big, thick gel cover on top just to make it softer. And that's what I've been using lately. But I still got really, really sore. So anyway, what I did yesterday or the day before, I raised the seat up. I think it needs to even be higher. It isn't high enough yet. I can feel it. I need full extension on my legs. Like so on the downstroke, I want my leg to be fully extended with my knee completely straight. And it's still not high enough. And I removed the gel cover. So now I'm experimenting with just the seat. And you know, these seats with the cutout down the middle, they've been super engineered and designed for exactly this type of thing, to be comfortable over long distances. So maybe I should trust the engineers. I mean, common sense tells you that a softer saddle would be more comfortable, right? Like if you want to sit down on a chair for 5 hours and you want the chair to be comfortable, you want a soft pillow on the chair, a soft cushion. So you get the biggest, softest, fluffiest feather pillow you can get, and you sit on that. But sometimes common sense is not really correct, and sitting on a fluffy pillow can actually be uncomfortable. You kind of got to dial these things in, get them just right. So, and that gel cover is actually pretty heavy. May not seem like a lot, but every time you add one more little gizmo to your bike, it makes it that much heavier. And that gel cover is, I don't know, a pound or something like that. It's a heavy thing to put on the bike. So if I can live without it, it saves me a bit of weight. Though at this point I carry so much weight that it hardly matters. So just came down the hill from my house and heading into downtown Port Dickson, and this neighborhood bike shop is just around the corner. It's not a modern branded bike shop. You're not going in there to buy the latest and greatest mountain bike or trail bike or whatever. He services the local community, so he repairs and fixes whatever 1,000-year-old bike the people here happen to be riding. So it's kind of an interesting place. And let's see if he's there. If I'm lucky, this will all go very smoothly. I think it's over here to the right, yeah. Oh. Oh. Good morning.
Hello, how are you?
Oh, I'm all right. How are you doing?
Fine.
Good, good, good.
Is it your bicycle?
Yeah, this is my bike.
You brought it from Canada?
Yeah, I brought it from Canada. Yeah, long time ago. I've had this bike 25 years.
So when your last day? When is your last day?
Probably the 26th
This month?
this month.
Yeah, after
Yeah,
that,
I have like one more week I stay
After
here.
that, you're going to Sumatra?
Yeah,
You ferry?
yeah, with my bicycle, so I go there.
So you must open the bike or what?
No, I just put it on the ferry just like this.
So we fly? How? You fly?
No, ferry.
No, you went from Canada to KL?
Oh, yeah, then I took it on the flight. Yeah, then you have to put it inside a box.
Oh,
You have to put it inside a case
Yeah.
on the airplane. Yeah.
So the next trip to Sumatra. Then after Sumatra,
Back to Malaysia.
you stay there?
No, I don't think so. That house has no Wi-Fi, so I can't stay in that house. But
Maybe you get to Pidi or next.
probably Kuala Lumpur. Or I might ride my bicycle around Malaysia, go on a trip,
Okay.
and then maybe Vietnam, I don't know.
Oh, long way. Huh?
Yeah. I'd like to go bike touring.
You been to Cambodia?
Yeah, long time ago. Interesting country.
Yeah. Taking your breakfast?
Not yet. Maybe I'll go out now. I want to go to the bicycle shop here.
Okay, it's open.
Yeah, I think he's open. Want to see if he can help me fix something.
Come.
Yeah, it's right here. Oh no, it's closed. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, this is the, I thought this hardware store was the bike shop, but it's not. You can see this big pile of tires and an old bicycle there, kid's bike. That's the, basically the sign for the bike shop. And that's it there. But yeah, not open yet. So, what shall I do? I have something else I might want to get done. So I think I'll go for a little bit of a bike ride. Come back. So, yeah, I run into that all the time. It's funny. It kind of goes against what you might think about Asia in general. The general idea, I think, is that everybody wakes up really early here and works really hard. And in general, that is quite true. But every time I go out into the world to do something, I'm always too early. Like nothing is open. My instincts are all wrong. So yeah, this is a crazy intersection here. Never quite figured out who has the right of way, how it's supposed to work. I've seen a lot of near accidents here. But yeah, I mean, I wake up pretty early as a rule, and I'm already busy for a good chunk of time, even right after sunrise, things like that. And then I have like an errand I want to run, and I'm just so eager to go get it done. And I'm sitting in my room and I'm holding myself back and I'm holding myself back and thinking, okay, wait, they're not going to be open yet. And I wait as long as I can. I'm like a little kid on Christmas morning, you know, holding himself back from rushing to the Christmas tree. And then I finally can't take it anymore, and I think, oh, 10 o'clock, yeah, they gotta be open by now. And I finally go out, and yeah, they're never open. So it's like, oh, for Pete's sake. Yeah, it happens to me all the time. Yeah, I just always go everywhere too early. And of course, a lot of the businesses, especially a small one like that, they don't really pay attention to working hours. They just show up whenever they want to show up, and they go home when they feel like it. So it's not like they post any hours. So you can't exactly ask them, like, when are your opening hours, or they won't post a sign or anything like that. Yeah, they just don't operate that way. So you basically just have to keep going back and going back and going back, and eventually you'll find them when they're open. Who knows, maybe it doesn't even open at all on Saturday and Sunday. I have no idea. As I said, there's never any signs telling you these things. So I'm not quite sure where I'm going right now. What I'm sort of looking for is a place that can weld aluminum. I've been asking around. I've asked everybody that I know, but these are these things that I always need, and it's not a common thing. So people just don't know. They says, well, no idea. So all you can do is head out and ride around and look for like a machine shop, mechanics, anything like that. And then pop in and say, hey, can you weld? Can you weld aluminum? And go from there. And I remember there was a shop over here, a very interesting one, that works on boat engines. And it seemed a little bit, anybody that completely rebuilds and repairs boat engines, propellers, whatever boat engines require, you'd think they'd have to do some welding from time to time. So I'm not exactly sure where this place was. Oh yeah, I'm going in the wrong direction for that, but I thought since it's a beautiful sunny day, I might as well go along the waterfront. It's a Saturday today. This is as busy as Port Dickson gets. Could be a lot of activity down by the waterfront, though with the sun out like this, probably most people will stay indoors until later in the day when the sun gets lower in the sky. All right, well, I'm at the waterfront. Yeah, and there's nobody here. In the afternoon, This area right here will be filled with booths. All of these metal shacks that you see, all of those will be open, and they sell all kinds of souvenirs for kids mainly, kites, soap bubble makers, fun toys, and all the families will be here. But yeah, this time of the morning, time of day, it's just too hot. Only crazy people like me and crazy people like fishermen will be here. And the fishermen are wise enough to be like this guy sitting in the shade. And check out this guy. Over here. Umbrellas, lawn chairs, the whole thing. Fans. Man after my own heart. He even has his own fishing trailer with all his gear in it and fishing rods. I was here last night, actually. A friend of mine and Planet Doug subscriber came down to Port Dickson for a visit. A man named Lim, and Lim came down with his son, and the three of us hung out down at the cove for a couple hours or so. Really nice time. Just having a cold beer and some snacks, sitting right on the water. It was, like 4 until 6 or 4:30 till 6:30, something like that. Beautiful light. Ocean was looking beautiful, nice and cool. Yeah, it was a really nice time. And I remember there was a large, looked like a large passenger ferry anchored out there. At first when I saw it, I thought it was the Sumatra ferry from Indo Mall Fast Ferry. So I thought it was moving, heading to the dock, but it just never moved, so it was anchored out there. I have no idea what kind of a ferry it was for what company. Yeah, the cove, it's like a bar and restaurant and coffee shop. It's right up here beside Zeus Coffee. Yeah, you wouldn't know how busy Port Dickson is based on what you see right now. Because as I said, it's just too hot for normal people. Only nutty characters like me would be out at this time of the day. It's just too hot, but I just accept it. Hello. I find I just don't pay attention to the weather. I just go out. Whatever, even if it's not midday with the sun beating down, it's still going to be hot, so it doesn't make much difference to me. Yeah, if I find a place that can weld, maybe if they can weld, they can probably drill through aluminum. Maybe they can do both jobs for me. Yeah, here's the cove right over here. I discovered the cove when I was going to Zeus, and I went to Zeus to use their Wi-Fi. And then while I was sitting at Zeus, I kept noticing I was getting a stronger Wi-Fi signal from somewhere else called the Cove. So I went out looking for it, and it was this place here, right beside Zeus, and they actually have faster Wi-Fi. It's actually not just faster, it's more steady. The Wi-Fi for me at Zeus keeps disconnecting. But this is, the Cove right here. And they have a more stable Wi-Fi connection, and it's faster than the one at Zeus, I find. So I started coming here when I needed a place to do some work on my laptop. But then for the very first time yesterday, I came down and got a beer. Another family here having a picnic. Just happened to be going through the children's amusement park, carnival, and yeah, just thought I'd give a little look at some of the rides. Doesn't open until later in the day, of course. Mainly evening. Got a bit of a choo-choo train right here for the kids. And I'm not sure I've seen these big boats before. I saw some small swan boats. But look at the size of these ones. They're for like entire families. Oh, it's cool. Yeah, that situation I ran into right at the beginning, I stopped to chat with that man at the restaurant. I've met him a number of times, and we just always have a short chat when I pass by. He lives at the local mosque, has sort of a free room there in exchange for working, cleaning the grounds and doing maintenance and stuff like that. And he sells a kind of health lotion or something like that. He had all these bottles of orange liquid, and it's some sort of specialty product that he makes. Ooh, I'm right beside Big Sista. So that makes me think maybe I should get some wonton mee while I'm here. I haven't had any breakfast yet. Nothing to eat. Maybe something to eat would be nice right about now. Is Big Sista open? Yes, it is. So yeah, I think some wonton mee is in my future right now. Yeah, there's a Big Sista kopitiam. There is the wonton mee stall, and you can also get laksa, all kinds of good meals here. You see, yeah, it's pretty popular on a Saturday, and I'm going to sit out here. I've been here quite a few times, and I've shown the wonton mee on several occasions, I think. So I don't need to do a deep dive into it or anything like that, but man, it's really good here. I enjoy it quite a bit. So this is what you get. This is a large wonton mee. So you've got the wontons, the noodles, some bacon, and then these are sweet peppers. Those are really good. And you get a little bowl of broth to go along with it. And I ordered cham from another stall. This is really good, ice cham. My favorite ice cham is at the Paklang kopitiam, since I go there all the time. But let's see what this one, how this one compares. Maybe it's, I don't know if I've ever had the cham here before. I've always had iced coffee or tea Tarek or something like that. But I'm just letting it get nice and cold. Let's give it a try. Oop, there's the straw. That's nice. Whenever I have cham, I try to decide what is the dominant flavor in this particular, because cham is a mixture of coffee and tea. So I was wondering, does it taste more like coffee or more like tea? This one is very smooth. Some places, like in Kuala Lumpur, there's a place I go to quite often, Yut Ki, and I have the cham there, and it has that kind of a classic Malaysian bitter coffee flavor that dominates. Here it's much smoother, and I don't know, I think the coffee still is the stronger flavor, but the tea mellows it out. It's really nice. And apparently I'm really thirsty. I'm just blasting through this thing. All right, let's give this a try. One of my favorite things, oddly enough, is munching through these sweet pickles. I'm not usually a pickle pepper kind of guy, but yeah, I always enjoy those. And I've learned that with the wonton mee, a lot of the sauce, the soy sauce, gets down into the bottom. So you kind of want to flip the whole thing around and kind of stir it up a little bit. Get all that saucy goodness floating back up to the top again. Let's try one of the wontons. I never realize how hungry I am or how thirsty I am until I start eating and drinking. Then it's like, so hungry. So nice. I was actually here. I mentioned the man Lim that I met up with yesterday. We had a beer down by the waterfront. He was here on a different day with his son as well, and we came here. He had the curry mee, or no, he had the laksa, and I had the wonton mee. And then he really liked the laksa. He would be more of an expert than I am, and he said it was really good. It was competitive with any laksa that he's had anywhere else. I think he also just calls it curry mee. Laksa and curry mee maybe is the same thing. I'm not sure. But he said it was good, and he would know better than me. And then he also ordered a little bit of wonton mee just to try it out. And for him, the one that he had, he said the noodles were not al dente. He wanted them a little bit chewier, a little bit more al dente. I like my noodles cooked. I like them soft. But I can't tell you if these are soft noodles or al dente or what they are, but just right for me. So that was my lunch / breakfast. Very good. And the mechanic shop I was thinking of, it was like a boat repair place. I remember seeing it somewhere in this direction near near Mienza's Burger, near the old movie theater. Might be just up ahead here. Oh yeah, right over there on my right. That's the old movie theater. I'll turn down here just for a second and capture a little bit of it on video. Yeah, what a great old sign at the front of it. Man. And there's still the name there, Vangse Theater, something like that. And then you see that billboard? ICNA, shows an old like 1950s band. That is very cool. And I think it's been converted to a bird building where they get bird nest soup. from those birds. But anyway, this is the shop over here, and I don't know, I'm maybe more of a junk shop, secondhand boat stuff rather than a repair center. Doesn't look like they can do any welding, but anyway, I'm gonna pop inside, maybe someone can tell me. Hello. Hello? Do you work here?
Yes.
Do you do any welding? Welding. Pardon me?
What welding you want?
Welding some aluminum, just a small piece together. I can show you. Yeah, the other half of the bolt is still kind of rusted into place. He's using a heat gun to heat it up just so you can unscrew it. Yeah, it's a funny thing when you try to do any of this stuff on your own, even if you have a house with tools, you're not going to have all the tools that a guy like this would have. And when you're sitting in your hotel room by yourself, stuff like this is just a nightmare to do. And you come to a place like this and he's like, boop, 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 here you go. So far, so good with all of his tools. He managed to at least pull the old rusted bolt. He cut it off, cut the head off one side. And then using a heater and a drill and the huge vice grips, he finally managed to pull this out. And now I think he's grinding the two halves of the aluminum parts, and he's going to try and weld them together. Worth a shot anyway.
You come from Australia, America? Where you come from?
Canada. From Canada. So he smoothed out one side here. So you can make it the right length so that this goes right here. Or no, this way. Yeah. Yeah. The one big trick is that even though it's snapped in half, it has to be the same length as the original because it has to fit over top of this peg. So if he welds it, but it's like 1/8 of an inch too long or too short, it won't fit into place. But you only know these kinds of things if you have been working with it for years. He probably doesn't really, he's not familiar with it, so. Just leave it in the hands of the master. So, what is this? Like, yeah, it's like for welding aluminum.
No,
No, it's like glue or something.
this is glue.
Okay.
This is for like the powder.
Powder.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then we do it like the bedding.
Ah, okay. So that is something completely new to me. I hadn't seen that before. I'm not quite sure what the stages are here, but it looks like he's gluing it together first and using a kind of powder with the glue, and then grinding it down, and then maybe that just holds it in place, and then he welds it. I don't really know. I haven't seen this done before. So he finished the job, and I thought this was only preparing for the welding, but according to him, you don't need to weld it. He used SuperGlue and some kind of super powder. But he says it's just as strong as welding. So yeah, we'll find out how that works. Yeah, so the next job is just to drill out some holes here. That's a new hole, and then these are existing holes, and I just need them to be bigger. So he's just trying to get the right drill bit for the size that I need. So he's busy drilling the holes that I needed, and just thought I'd roam around with my GoPro just for a second. Yeah, check it out. He's got a lot of gear in here. He could probably fix anything. But I think his specialty is outboard motors like this, jet skis, a lot of motors here, a lot of outboard motors. Yeah, a whole bunch over here too. There they are. Hopefully I haven't weakened my rack too much. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 holes in total, but it should be absolutely fine. And now I'm gonna try out this kickstand as well with the super glue and super powder repair. Crazy, never saw that before. Hopefully it works. So that is it. Much yeah, easier than I expected, and I got everything done in one place. Kind of welding. We'll see how that works out, but he managed to put my kickstand back together. We'll see how long it lasts. Super glue, super powder technique, and he says, yeah, it's just as strong as welding, maybe stronger than welding. I have a hard time believing it, but he's the expert. And yeah, there you can see the shop behind me. Cat Yao Chow Motor Trading. And he also drilled out the holes for me on all of my pannier racks. And that's where I'm going to be mounting the 360 camera. And before I cycle away, got to check all my pockets. Still got my phone, 2 cameras, all of my spare parts. Because I brought all kinds of spare parts with me just in case I needed to show him different things to explain what I'm doing. So yeah, I've got the kickstand. Okay, I don't think I forgot it. It's so easy to forget things when you're doing something like this. There are just too many pieces to keep track of. And then I asked him how much for the job, and he wouldn't take any money. He says, small job, he said, no problem. So yeah, he just did it for free. Very nice. And then he told me he has a hobby of racing remote control boats, RC boats. He has the FX 3000 or something like that. He showed me some pictures of it on his phone, and he's a member of a club or society that races these high-end fast boats out on the water here, and that was very cool. And he took an interest in what I'm doing because he said he puts GoPros on his RC boats and they film races and things like that. So he yeah, he wanted to just be nice and did it for me, and yeah, said it's on the house. Did it, had no charge. Very nice, very kind of him. And to be honest, I can't believe that this weld, this super glue is going to hold. When he showed me the bottle, I took a close look at it because I assumed this had to be some high-tech material that only NASA has, something super incredible. But it's just like basic super glue that you can buy at any convenience store. The cheapo little bottles of super glue. And along with that powder, he basically put it back together, and I honestly have trouble believing that it's going to hold, like seriously, but I'll give it a try, see what happens. My gut is there's just no way, because that kickstand comes under so much torque, there's just no way super glue can hold it together, but I guess that powder does something to it. It's almost like a chemical weld, I guess. All right. So back at the house, I'll take off the cheap kickstand that I have, that I bought here, put on my old one, and give it a try. He actually made it better than it was before because a couple of the bolts were rusted into place and I couldn't adjust it at all. It was really difficult to take it off and put it back on the bike because I couldn't get any of the bolts out. But he actually drilled out all the bolts, and now put new bolts in, and should be good as new for a 30-year-old kickstand anyway, as good as new as a 30-year-old kickstand can be anyway. Yeah, look at these big motorbikes here. Whew. Yeah, the motorcycle clubs will be here in Port Dickson today on a Saturday. Times like this, I wish the McDonald's in Asia sold milkshakes. I always want a good milkshake, but for whatever reason, it's just not a popular product overseas. Nobody ever has milkshakes, so McDonald's doesn't make them, doesn't offer them. But I could really go for one right now. The best I could do is a McDonald's sundae that they make out of ice cream. Maybe I'll reward myself with a McDonald's chocolate sundae. Can't think of all the places in Port Dickson that have become my regulars. I haven't found a regular like smoothie place or like mango or banana shake or something like that. I haven't found a place that makes those. So yeah, I think I'll have a McDonald's chocolate sundae since I can't have my milkshake. All right. Popped into McDonald's for an ice cream sundae. That was very nice, though. To be honest, I could have had 5 of them. Hello. And yeah, a milkshake would have gone down pretty well as well. Maybe 5 of those as well. But yeah, now I'll go back to the house, swap out my kickstands, give that a try, and then maybe I'll test out my new invention, my new 360 camera mounting procedure. Though this mounting option is really only for a couple of situations. I may not do it all the time. I need one other mounting system to build into this bike. I need one more. This system is based on the rear and the front pannier racks. And from past experience, I know that it's a good idea to mount the 360 camera sort of mid-bike, like right on the frame here, and then have it sticking out to the side. That works out really well. So I have to come up with one more gizmo to mount on the frame of the bike down below me by the water bottles. I used to use that technique before. This technique, mounting on the rear pannier rack, will be mainly for filming from behind me if I want to do that, or kind of off to the side a little bit. We'll see. It's just it's nothing permanent, so it's no big deal. To test it out, all I had to do was drill a couple of holes in that pannier rack, and then I can use those holes to mount something. Once I set it up, I'll show you what it looks like. Yeah, here I am out in the Port Dickson traffic again. This is a parking lot that I'm in, but the parking lot has more traffic in the parking lot than a lot of other actual streets. It's crazy. Especially on the weekend. Sleepy Port Dickson can become quite bustling in certain areas. Just following the one-way roads. The one-way road system takes you on some roundabout routes occasionally. It's going to be taking me by the Paklang Kopitiam. I might end up going there tomorrow morning to use their Wi-Fi to do some things. And there's low tide here in Port Dickson. You can see out there. Oh, the mud flats. Yeah, even at high tide, there isn't much water there. 4 or 5 feet at the most, I would say, when the water comes in at high tide. Low tide, all the boats are sitting on their hulls on the mud. Yeah, I have no idea how much actual fishing goes on here. I see a bunch of traps over there, like lobster traps or something like that. Huh. All right. Oh, something else I noticed the other day, which was kind of a surprise to me. See if I can actually go track it down, because when I left from Paklang Kopitiam the other day, here it is right now, coming into view on the GoPro, on my front-facing GoPro. Instead of walking up the main road, I went around here to the back. Hey. Hi, how are you? How are you? Good. Hi. Those are all the guys that make my cham. And I came down this way, and there were monkeys everywhere. I'd never seen them in Port Dickson before. But there were monkeys climbing all over the roofs here, and these buildings, and in the trees, and along the wires here. So I thought I'd come down. This is where the old train station is located, the railway station. The railroad tracks are right here by all this brush. The tracks are in there, you can't see them, of course. And then the railway station is there, but there are monkeys everywhere. Huh, but I don't see, of course they're still here today. It's not like they disappeared, but I just don't see them right now. I don't know where they are. Huh, all right. No monkeys. Yeah, I've learned my lesson. Whenever you see fresh asphalt like that, do not go down there on your bicycle or your scooter. Your tires get covered in wet tar. Flings it all over the place, and when all that tar gets stuck to your bike or your scooter, it makes a real mess. avoid wet tar, man. That is for sure. And here's the heavy traffic of Port Dickson. Oh. I mentioned that I removed the gel cover from my seat, my saddle. The one difference it makes is that now I'm sitting right on the rubber of the saddle itself, and it's stickier. So I can't really shift my butt around as easily as I could when I had the gel cover on there. Yeah, this is a tough intersection to navigate sometimes. And now I don't need to go to the bike shop. This is where my journey started, right up ahead. Here's the display of old tires that marks the entrance to the bike shop. Yeah, he's open now. He's got all these old bikes parked out front. But I've got everything done. As I'm riding along right now, I'm just concentrating on the saddle, just sort of seeing how it feels, comfortable, not comfortable. And I think for my next ride, I'm going to put the gel cover back on, make it much softer, and just sort of initial impressions. Does that feel better? Because even now, I've only been riding for a few kilometers, but I can already feel my butt starting to hurt. I've often wondered if it's because I don't cycle hard enough, because the faster you go, you're more bent over, and then forcing down on the pedals lifts you up off the seat, so you're not putting all of your weight on the saddle all the time. But I tend to ride pretty slowly, and all of my weight is basically just going straight down on the saddle. I'm not supporting myself on the pedals at all. Like right now, I'm sort of stiffening my legs, and then of course I raise myself up off the seat. And I think my Hero 12 just overheated and shut down. I think that's what happened. I think my Hero 9 is still recording though, so might be able to pick up my voice on the built-in mics of the Hero 9 for the last few meters until my home. But yeah, so yeah, today, man, it's no surprise that the GoPro overheated. Even shooting at 25 frames per second doesn't help. It's so hot today in this direct sun. It's pretty crazy. Hello.
Hello.
You're driving out. Oh, here I can see that the red light on my Hero 12 is still blinking. So I guess it did not overheat. Must have been my Hero 9 that shut down. And I wonder if it overheated or maybe the battery died or anyway, so that's good news. It did not overheat. Anyway, I'm going to settle down in my room for a while, play around with the kickstand, switch it out, and then set up the 360 camera, then go out for another test. Oh. All right, here I am, a cup of coffee going. My newly repaired, my newly super glued kickstand, and I've got the new kickstand there. I'm going to take the new one off, see if I can put the old one back on and see how it works. And I've got the, what did I do with it? I had the gel cover for my seat, just to show you what it looks like. Oh, there it is. This room is such a disaster right now. I don't even want to show you what the room looks like. It's just, everything here is just completely torn apart because I've been working on all my camera gear with everything breaking down, trying out new laptops because my laptop broke down, getting the bike ready, constantly, everything is on the floor. There's just a mess everywhere. But anyway, so this is the seat without the cover, and I talked about how there's an opening in the middle. Let me show you what that looks like actually. Most modern saddles are like this, where now they have a cutaway through the center of the seat. So you're basically, you have in your butt what they call sit bones, at least cyclists call them sit bones, and one rests here and one rests here. And then that's where your weight is supposed to be. And then this opening keeps all of the sensitive parts of your body from pressing up against anything. So that's what modern saddles look like now. And then if that's too hard, I have this quite thick, soft gel cover that sits on top of it. And then it makes it all much softer. But you still have kind of an opening in the middle, but not really. So this makes the seat much softer, but then it kind of negates this opening. So I'm not really sure what is the best way to go. Whew. And a little piece of good news is that when one of the cameras shut down on the way here, I thought it was the Hero 12 overheating, but it turns out the Hero 12 was still running. So I thought the Hero 9 overheated, which surprised me. But it turns out, no, it didn't overheat either. The SD card filled up. So it shut down because there was no more memory. So yeah, all that riding I did in that brutal heat out there right now, neither GoPro overheated. So that's very good news. In that direct sunlight, that's very, very good news. Anyway, let's take the old kickstand off. Looks simple enough. All right. Yeah, this thing here, funny thing is, when I was at that, the boat engine repair place where the guy fixed my kickstand, he managed to take these bolts out that were rusted into place. And then one of the tools he used was a vice grip. And it kind of made me laugh because I was trying to do the same thing here with my vice grips, but my vice grips, it's even smaller than my hand. His were like the size of his arm. So like his vice grips were, I don't know, 10 times bigger than mine. Plus he had the other special tools. He had the heat gun and he had a vice. And so anyway, with his vice grip, he was able to get the bolt free. With my baby vice grips, I wasn't able to do it. But these vice grips, man, they are the handiest thing I ever bought. They are so useful. I use them every single day on the bike and on everything else. So one of the main problems, or the main problem with this kickstand is it's just too loose. It's too flexible. And when I first got it, there were 2 bolts holding it in place, one at the bottom and one at the top. And then it only had a thin plate of steel connecting them, and that plate of steel just bent so easily. So actually I added a 3rd bolt here in the middle. So that's how I was able to even attach it and use it at all. But it's just a very flimsy kickstand, in my opinion. So, and it's one of these kickstands that is, as I've talked about before, it's designed to fit on every bike in the world. So it's adjustable in every way. And because it has so many adjustment points, every adjustment point makes it weaker. And this one is different. The mounting mechanism has no adjustment points at all. If it fits your bike, it fits. If it doesn't, too bad. And it fits on mine. And the only adjustment is the length of the kickstand itself. It actually has markers on it. It has measurement lines. And then when you put it on your bike, the only adjustment you can make is to figure out how long you want it, and then you cut it off at the proper length. But up here, there are no adjustment points at all. And it's thick, stiff aluminum. Like there's no movement at all. There's no flexibility in this thing at all. It either stays in place or it snaps. It does not bend in any way. And it looks like the bolt that I added, yeah, it's a different size. Need a different Allen wrench on there. So, but yeah, you need this to hold the bolt in place. And then you can loosen it. No wonder it's so friggin' loose. It's got so many pieces. It's got this piece, it's got this piece, and they've got to clip together somehow. And then you've got another little clip here that's got to clip into there, and then there's got to be a bolt, and then it bolts onto another piece down here. It's just, yeah, it ain't a great design as far as I'm concerned. Man, I sure hope. Look at that. Another loose piece held in place by 2 bolts flipping all over the place. Yeah, I sure hope my old one still works, because to be honest, I don't even know if I would know how to put this thing back together. My gosh, what a... And then even the leg itself has another bolt here that you have to loosen and tighten in order to make it longer and shorter. Anyway, this is, I mean, it's fine for a normal person, but for a touring bike, you need something stiffer, and hopefully this will do the job. Well, two pieces of bad news. One piece of bad news is that the GoPro battery died just as I was putting on my repaired kickstand. So the GoPro wasn't running when I took my fixed kickstand, and all I did was put a little bit of pressure with my fingers. Like I didn't even put it on the bike yet. I didn't tighten down any bolts. I didn't do anything. All I did was pick it up, and I bent it just a little bit with my fingers, and it snapped right off. So it's like, yeah, that's what I was expecting, because the guy super glued it back together. And I spoke to him at least 3 times to say, like, really? Like you can just super glue it with this magic powder? And then he kept saying, oh yeah, very strong, very strong, very strong. And I kept thinking, there's just no way. You can't super glue steel on a bike. It's not going to. But anyway, he was the expert and he seemed to think it would work. So I'm like, all right. I kept saying, like, you don't have to weld it? Like, can you just weld it? And he's like, no, this is good, strong. Anyway, snap. Like barely put any pressure at all with my fingers, and I just snapped it in two. So clearly you cannot super glue a bike back together. That's obvious, right? But yeah, why he thought he could. I mean, the guy works on engines. He knows the kinds of stress and tolerance you need for metal parts of an engine, let alone like a bicycle. He would know you can't super glue steel or aluminum back together, right? But anyway, so now what do I do? He's already made it, he fixed all the other parts of it, so maybe I can bring it back to him. Maybe he does have welding equipment, and now he has it all ready to go. He doesn't have to clean it up, he doesn't have to do anything. All he has to do is put it together like this and then weld it, right? So should I go back to him? I don't know where else to go. So yeah, I think I'm gonna hop on the bike while it's still in his memory, and I'll just show him, yeah, it just snapped right off again. And I'll see if he can weld it. Yeah, So that's it. Super glue. Yeah, you can't super glue a bike. Even I knew that. Strange. Later in the afternoon, maybe 5:30 or something like that, I did go back to the boat repair shop where the guy tried to fix my kickstand. But I shot a time lapse on the way there, and in the time lapse, I rode there, and I looked at the shop, but he wasn't there. There was nobody there. The place was empty. But I did sit there for a minute and just look very carefully, and I didn't see any welding equipment anywhere. Like anything that I recognize as a welding rig with a mask and things like that. I didn't see anything, so I thought, well, he probably can't do any welding anyway. So then I rode on to I went to a couple of garages and asked them, and they all said, no, we don't weld. But one guy said, I know a place, and he gave me directions. You got to go to the corner, go past the mosque, and then there's a used car shop, and behind the used car shop, there's a place, a welding shop. So I followed his instructions, and to my amazement, there was a used car shop. Normally when people tell you these things, everything they tell you is completely wrong, or you misunderstand it. But anyway, there was a used car place there. And then around back was like a shack. It wasn't not a business of any kind, but there were some men there who looked like they were industrial, like working on stuff. So I thought, well, this must be the place. And they seemed to know what they were talking about, because I did say to them in English, can you guys weld something? And they said, well, what do you need welded? And I showed it to them, and they were looking at it and discussing it. And then I said, well, it's aluminum. And then they went, oh, no, we can't do aluminum. And I knew that from before. I know that myself, that welding aluminum takes special tools and special technique, which is why it's hard to find someone to weld aluminum. In Port Dickson, it's hard to find anybody who can weld anything, but finding someone who can do aluminum, it's pretty rare. So anyway, they said, nah, we can't do aluminum. So that was the end of that. I'm pretty sure I'm not going to be able to find anyone. So I just gave up on it. I came back here and I put my old kickstand, well, not my old one, my new one, back on. I can show you what it looks like. So I took this one off because I thought my old one was repaired. So I took this one off to put on my old one, my repaired one, but then I just grabbed it with my fingers and it snapped in half again before I even put it on. But here's the new one, and you can see why I don't like it. You can see how complex it is. There's a bolt here and a bolt here and one here and one here and one here, and there's so many different pieces that all have to be connected and adjusted that you get no strength out of this. It's very wobbly. You can see just how much motion there is. This moves all over the place. Anyway, it's not a great kickstand for my purposes, but that's what I have right now. But while I was at the boat place, the guy did drill the holes that I wanted. And these holes are connected to mounting a 360 camera, and I haven't tested anything yet. That's what I'm going to do right now, but I'll show you what I've come up with, what my idea was. And this idea stems from the fact that this is the invisible selfie stick. You put your 360 camera on here, and it has a 3/4 inch threaded hole in the bottom. So what they want you to do, and what everyone sells you these pieces of gear where you just have a mount on your bike and you screw this into it and look, your camera is mounted. But I know from hard experience that that doesn't work, because once you extend this all the way out and put a camera at the end of it, there's so much torque at the base, nothing will hold that in place. There's nothing on this earth that you can screw into the bottom, and as you go over bumps, like a bumpy road, this is just going to swing down and you're going to be dragging your camera on the gravel behind you. I know. So what you need to do is mount the base on something, but then you need a second grip part way up the handle. So you need two mounting points, one at the base and one on the stick itself, and that's the only thing that'll work. So that's what I've done in the past, and I came up with this idea. Let me show it to you. So here is my rear pannier rack, and each one of these yellow things, that's where I had him drill a hole. And there were already 2 holes here at the front and 2 at the back, and I had him widen these 2 holes and then widen the 2 at the back and then drill 3 new ones so that I would have a variety of mounting positions. So what I can do now, this is basically from a tripod. This is a tripod head, has a lever here so it can spin around, and this can point in any direction. And then you lock it into place with this lever. So this is basically a tripod. And then because I put a hole, I can put a bolt through here. This is basically a GoPro mount. So I can use one of my GoPro mounts, go through the hole into the tripod base, and this is basically locked firmly into position. So I put one, just as an example, I put one tripod here, and then I put another one over here, a smaller one, and it's mounted in the same way. There's a GoPro grip down here. So I've got a GoPro grip with the bolt going through and then screwing into here. And this is another tripod base, and the 360 selfie stick screws into this, and then I have this ram mount that I can hold the stick and point it in any direction. So if that makes sense to you, let me show you how that works for this setup right here. The 360 goes into the jaws here, screws into that. So now the base is locked into position on this tripod thing, and then you close up all of these clamps to hold the invisible selfie stick into position. You've got one clamp here, and then all of these have to be super, super tight. And it's not ideal yet, but there it is there. And now I could put the 360 camera up there at the top. I have the 360 camera in my pocket right now, so why don't I do that? The 360 has a tripod thread there. So you just screw your 360 camera onto there. Doing it one-handed is not a great idea. I'm going to have to do it with my right hand. My left hand, I'll have to do it with both hands. Okay, so there's the 360 camera now mounted, and there it is on my bike. So now it would be filming me with the 360 camera from the rear. And right now I have the stick aimed to point almost directly straight up. And the idea here, if I can put this down and aim this at the bike. There we go, I think we're in frame. So this is the way it works right now. But if I want the camera further to the back, I have to adjust these claws. Basically take the claw off and then loosen the tripod thing. And now I can aim the stick in any direction I want. So I can aim the stick out the back like this, directly to the back, and then to hold the stick into position, I have to reset this, of course. So like that. Tighten this down. Tighten this down. And then tighten the tripod base down, like that. So, in theory, now the 360 camera is filming me from the back, and it's going to bounce up and down a lot, but this should be strong enough to hold it in place. So now I've got it pointed out to the back, filming myself from the back. And I was watching an Itchy Boots video recently, she was talking about using different camera techniques as well. And one of the techniques she was using was exactly like this, mounting the 360 camera behind her motorbike and filming herself from the back as she's riding. And then she could switch from the GoPro to the 360 camera. So I'm just going to do a test ride here and see how strong this is. And I'm going to film myself with the 360 camera. So I'm just about to take it out on the road. I'm just going to go a short distance down the hill where it's nice and smooth, because I don't trust my rig yet, where it's like almost horizontal. It's going to be bouncing up and down. I don't want to be going over any bumps, but let me turn on the 360 camera. So the 360 camera is now recording. And I was saying earlier, I got interrupted, but I was talking about how when I met this man outside the restaurant earlier this morning, earlier in the video as well, it would have been really nice to have the 360 camera running instead of a GoPro, because the 360 camera is pointing in all directions. So when you sort of run into somebody on the street and you're chatting with them, but if your GoPro is pointing off in a different direction, they're never on video. But the 360 camera films everything all the time, so that's kind of an advantage. So let's get the bike out here. Make sure my 360 camera doesn't hit anything. It's like I've got a horn on the bike, and then I've got a tail on the bike, and yeah, you got to be careful how far those things are pointing. Yeah, my bike is, what, 6 feet long, but now with these two cameras on it from nose to tail, it's more like 15 feet, so yeah. But that's also because I'm doing an extreme right now with the camera pointed so far behind me. Normally, I'd probably have it up higher, not so horizontal, but all right. So yeah. 360 camera filming me from the back, GoPro from the front. And one thing I commented on when I was watching Itchy Boots video is that this view from the back on the 360 camera is not a very flattering one. It sort of widens your butt. It makes you look quite wide and kind of fat. And it's not a very flattering view for anyone, let alone an attractive young woman. I had a 360 camera set up like this when I was in Sumatra before, and I stopped using it partially because I found the view somewhat unattractive. So turning around, and now, so that's kind of the view from behind, and what I'm going to do is now move the view. So lock this in your mind. This is what the 360 camera looks like, sticking straight out behind. Now I'm going to see if I can move it easily to a different position. I'm also curious how long this takes. Yeah, from here it's kind of cool. You know, 360 camera can be filming me. It can be filming that power plant across the road. It could be it's filming straight up at the big hydro towers up above me. They can film the field off in this direction, the houses there. It's basically filming the whole world. So that is kind of cool. So I don't know, this is all brand new, so I don't know the best way to do this, but I'm going to loosen the tripod base first. Then I'm going to loosen the grip claw. And where do I want the 360 camera to go? I think I want it to go off to the side like this. So then it's filming from that direction. So in order to get that, I can tighten down the tripod base, lock that position in, and then I think I normally wouldn't be doing this with the camera running, but just for this experiment. Now let's lock my base into position here. There we go. All right, well, it's not ideal because it should be gripping it a bit higher up here rather than so low to the bottom. But yeah, let's give that a try. So there's a view from the side. Oh, when I went back to the boat repair shop to see whether the guy could weld for me, I had adjusted the height of my seat, but I didn't tighten the bolt enough. So as I was riding away, my entire seat just went boom, fell all the way down to its lowest point. That was pretty ridiculous. I was riding around the entire time like I was riding a little clown bike. But now I've raised my seat up again, but I've raised it up so high, this is probably too high. It's talking about how I want to extend my knees as far as possible, but this might be too far. I don't feel like I have much control over the bike because my legs are hyperextended. But maybe this is how it's supposed to be, to get all the best power out of your legs. I don't know. Anyway, we're not testing the seat so much as the 360 camera and the view that this provides from the back. I'm going quite slow, of course, because I'm going uphill. Let's speed up a little bit as we go around the corner. So let's adjust the camera position again. So this time I'm going to do a major adjustment. I'm going to move it to the tripod mount I have at the front, and I'm going to try and get the 360 camera out here beside me. See how that works. But that means I'm going to have to move the selfie stick, and I'm going to have to move my claw. And this might actually end up being a better position. Okay. going to turn off the 360 camera while I do this. Okay. That's what makes all of these camera mounting things so complicated or difficult, is if you want them to be adjustable. I mean, it's one thing to just mount a camera and leave it there, but if you want to be able to move it around or take it off the bike completely, then you need, then you need things like this. It's got a claw on one end and a claw on the other, and then it can be basically moved in 360 degrees. So, I think, I've never done this before, so this is all brand new. I can mount it to my seat post. I'm worried that this is going to interfere with my legs and pedaling the bicycle, so I have to set this up so that it doesn't hit my legs. Okay. Yeah, these tripod ball heads, they've all come from different devices that I've had over the years. This one is like a big one. This is a much larger unit from an Ulanzi, like a full-scale tripod meant for mirrorless cameras. And it's pretty heavy duty. And yeah, this is not working out quite how I wanted. Let's see, what else can I do here? Yeah, okay, let's try that. Oh, I see. Okay. Yeah, it's not quite what I wanted. Let's see. Yeah, more like that, a little bit lower, perhaps. All right, just for fun. All right, so I think you can see it over here, right? There's a 360 camera. I just turned it on. Now it's recording. So the interesting thing is that because it's a 360 camera, of course it can record in all directions, so it's taping me from behind, and then I can walk up to the bike from this direction, and the 360 camera will follow me, and then out in front of the bike you can still see me on the 360 video. I'm doing all this reframing afterwards. This thing looks like it's from outer space, you know? I was thinking all the adjustments I've made to it, I started to think of it like it's some kind of a space shuttle. But since it's not going out into space, it's more like a ground shuttle. Just wanted to take a picture of it, the way it looks right now. I've got the GoPro running and the 360 camera at the same time. Looks pretty wild from here, but let's see if this interferes with pedaling the bike. I have a feeling it will, because as I said, this is all brand new. Let's see what happens. Yeah, it does. It's hitting my leg as I pedal, so I'd have to make some adjustments there. But there's the view at the moment from this 360 camera. I'm just going to go down this hill. And of course I got to make sure I don't hit anything on the side of the road. It's sticking out from my bike a few feet. I'm going to be riding by my old house. This is where I was staying when I first came to Port Dickson. Oh. Oh. Hello. How are you? Yeah, do you want me to come in? Just say hi? Okay, I'll come through. My old landlord. Sometimes he sits outside the house, so since I'm riding by, I thought I might as well say hello. So I ended up having a cup of coffee with my friend there. I was staying for a while at his house when I first came to Port Dickson, so I often find him sitting outside and having a cigarette, and I pop by and have a cup of coffee, and we chat for a while. And now the sun has gone down, so my testing has pretty much come to an end. These 360 cameras are really not good in low light at all, so any video I get now is not going to look very good. But I'm still testing different camera positions just to see how things go. Camera's not on right now, so let's turn it on. One interesting thing about these 360 cameras, they give haptic feedback, just kind of cool. GoPros don't do that. So when it turns off and on, and when you start recording and stop recording, it vibrates, and you can actually feel it through the bicycle, because it is carried through the selfie stick. So like if you're holding the selfie stick, you actually get vibrations tell you what the camera is doing, which is kind of interesting. Yeah, the more feedback you get from the camera, the better. Still amazes me, a lot of camera developers don't know that. So they'll design, market, and sell what they call a vlogging camera. And this vlogging camera won't even have a tally light, like a flashing red light to tell you when it's recording. It was just ridiculous that they don't even include that. So which tells me they have no idea what they're talking about when it comes to designing a vlogging camera. But anyway, all cameras should give you as much feedback as possible. Flashing lights, vibrations, beeping sounds, anything like that is useful. So let's record a bit with the 360 camera. So now it's recording again, and I have it sticking out to the right side of the bike, and I don't know whether this position will interfere with my pedaling or not. We're going to find that out. As I said, this isn't exactly designed to test how I would use this camera exactly. I'm just playing around with it. The main perspective that I thought I could use would be the one like way at the back of the bike, or like way up high from the back of the bike, sticking off to the side like this from the back. That's it's a little bit hard to do, and keep it steady and not running into people and things like that. So anyway, I'm just going to go down the hill and turn around and go back to my house with the 360 camera over here. And yeah, the pack of dogs is over here, and they may end up chasing me this time as I go by. At night, it becomes their territory. They take over the city at night. So yeah, they already barked at me when I came by. So let's see if they chase me. No, look at that. That's kind of nice. There's my 360 camera view from the side. Low light, it's not going to look very good, but at least it gives you an idea of what the camera perspective would be looking from the back. Going around the corner. But yeah, you wouldn't leave the 360 camera out there for very long, I think. You'd end up worrying about it way too much, sticking out to the side like that. Just asking to be hit by a passing motorcycle or car, or running it into a telephone pole. But yeah, like I said, I'm just messing around. And let's go back. And that will be the end of my testing for today. I've done, yeah, it's one of those days. I feel like I've been working nonstop all day, but yet at the end of the day, I haven't really accomplished very much. Mainly because, yeah, I brought my kickstand to a mechanic and he fixed it with SuperGlue. I was just thinking that that's a good example of why you always get a second opinion, because you tend to trust professionals, right? My instinct was like, what are you talking about? You can't fix steel with SuperGlue. That's just ridiculous. There's no way it's going to be strong enough. And he kept telling me, oh no, it'll work, it's fine, it's really, really strong. So because he's the expert, I just let him go ahead. But in this case, I knew more than he did. Maybe he didn't really understand what a kickstand was. He thought maybe he was fixing the handle on a coffee mug or something, because that's all you can use SuperGlue for. You know, you can't use it to fix steel or aluminum on a bicycle. But anyway, but yeah, like most of us, if we go to see a doctor or a lawyer or an engineer, we trust them. They tell us what they think, and we take their opinion because they're the experts. And then, yeah, but really, you can't really fully trust the experts, because sometimes they don't really know. Sometimes you know better than they do. But yeah, I better move off to the side here so my 360 camera doesn't get hit by this scooter coming up behind me. And yeah, so if you go to see a doctor and they tell you what's wrong with you, well, go see a second doctor, get a second opinion. Same thing with a lawyer, I guess, or an engineer, and even a mechanic, because they're not always right. All right. So, end of the day, I'm exhausted. And throughout a lot of today, there was a lot of construction noise at my house, and there was sort of a big party going on. I don't know who they were, but a lot of family members showed up. So there's been a lot of noise in my life today, and a lot of distractions, and a sense of not getting anything done. But there's the sunset behind me. And now we're coming back to my home, and the end of the day, and the end of my camera testing for now. But I am glad I drilled the holes in the pannier racks. I may not use it a whole lot, but it gives me the option of mounting the 360 camera this way. It's nice to have the option. For a first test, I'm pretty satisfied with how things worked out. Yeah, you can see all the cars here at my house. The whole family is still here. So I think that's it. I'm going to shut down right here. And yeah, the thing though is with this 360 video now, in order to put it into this video, I have to sit down and reframe the whole thing. That's the whole point of 360 video. But so I'm not done yet. So that's it. Shutting down here in Port Dickson with all my camera testing for today and getting my bike ready for hopefully what will be an epic journey through Sumatra. Thinking more and more about what I'm going to do there, and every time I think about it, the journey gets bigger and bigger in my mind. So hopefully when I finally get on the ferry and land in Sumatra, I'll do like a major bike journey, because yeah, I think I have to in order to justify all this preparation. So that's it, shutting down, and see you next time. All right, well. People need to catch strays, they need to catch strays. That's just the way it is figurative ones, of course.